And I sort of had this thought, like, throughout the episode. I started to think, like, are they, like, hamming this up a little too much? But it made me realize that it's, like, not only is it, like, two girls in love, which just never happens on a cartoon ever to begin with, but it's, like, there's not really ever romance in cartoons ever. Like, we all have anime and, like, fandom stuff in our minds, but cartoons never actually go that deep on relationships.
I just have to mention this right off the bat. What was that, like, first, like, minute of this episode?
It was so weird.
I've never been so jarred by, like, it. I was like, Nick, did you start us halfway through? What just happened?
I thought that too. I thought it might be, like, it felt so much like, I mean, at the very least, like, we missed an episode and there was some, like, plot.
It was a weird way to start it, but it didn't feel too unnatural, like, as it progressed. I feel like maybe it's like they just forgot to have a cold open, or like they had one that was longer or something.
Well, it's
So
weird because
they
I feel like they could have achieved the same thing, just like showing like the scene with him and her all like broken up. But I think they were like, we need to establish that Gus is very, very, very insecure right now, so we need a scene where he's really sad. And they're like, where are we gonna put it? And they're like, right at the beginning. So I guess it was fine.
Yeah.
Well, but the thing about that is that I thought they were setting up some kind of thing about him being insecure about his relationship with Willow, not about being an illusionist, which is what the episode was about. I feel like they could have been more about that in the beginning, and it would have been better.
True, yeah. From seeing Willow on the call, I was thinking like, oh, a Willow and Gus episode? That's never happened before, but then it was just Gus, which has also never happened before and was pretty good. But
What are your opinions on like the main conflict he went through in this episode? Like I'm like a little torn because I'm like I've never gotten the impression that he's been like insecure about illusions, but I think the idea of exploring like, oh, illusions are considered a lesser form of magic because it's all just like tricks is interesting. But I'm like,
I was waiting for the episode to be about Gus pretending he can use glyph magic, and then the moral of the story being, oh, he can't actually use glyph magic, but that's okay. But the turn that the episode took was a pleasant surprise for me, like the turn of the Grandis kids actually being evil. As you said, oh, this is my ice cream truck. The Grandis kids being evil, and Betty over there being kind of like a psycho influencer who's in charge of all the kids because she's the most popular and strongest.
Can I just say thank
I
God?
really like that.
Because I was like, why are they hanging out with what is his name, Bartholomew? I was like, they're so nice. Why are they hanging out with him? and I'm glad they're actually just manipulating him or just using him, because I was like, please tell me they're not just like ignoring the fact that he's being terrible right now.
But he was less terrible in this one than his first appearance.
I know, but in the beginning he was just like, just being the same, you know? Yeah, that was another thing. Like, I'm a little torn on like his like quote-unquote redemption arc, because it's just another case of like he was just acting the same like at the beginning, and then at the end he was just like, I am changed now, we are friends. And I'm like,
well, I don't know, to me he's such like an inconsequential character. Like, I didn't even remember who he was until a few seconds after you all made negative size.
Didn't he win like worst character award or something?
Yeah.
How could you forget him? As usual, like, I love seeing new locations in the show, and every time they do something like, oh my god, like the ruins and like the bleeding like statues, like I know that was an illusion, but I'm like,
yeah,
can they do that?
See, that like that shot was in the trailer, and I just realized, oh yeah, like it's an illusion. That's why,
oh my god.
Like that's why they can get away with doing that, I guess.
That was the biggest like illusion magic example we've seen, like to influence like an entire environment like that is like super crazy.
Yeah, and to make it seem like magic isn't working too is such a big deal,
is that?
I think.
Oh yeah, I didn't really even think of that. Like, was it like he illusioned her magic away? Well,
no, because presumably what happened is that the magic was really happening, but he just reacted quickly enough to hide it. Which also means that I guess magic is no. Like, you don't feel it, you only see it. Or, I don't know, maybe not. Maybe she was just scared and reacted that way. But, I don't know, it's weird, but cool.
Yeah, it was interesting. But, moving over to, Luce and Amity's plot.
Well, hang on.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Isn't bleeding statues like a Doctor Who thing or something? Was that like?
You're thinking of the
What, Weeping Angels?
the Weeping
No,
Angels. They
moving
use
statues.
a very scary thing, but I was really surprised to see something that scary in the Owl House. I mean, I know Disney's done scary before, but that's a bit. Wow.
That was almost as scary as Hootie just taking himself out of the house and leaving his organs. Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to move on from that too fast, because I'm like, I also have more to say. The guy who guarded the ruins, like, I guess he was probably a ghost, like they said, right? It's an old illusionist, and I guess that, I was like, I was gonna go somewhere with that, and like, I guess that's all I have to say. Yeah, he's
Yeah, I
an
guess.
illusionist.
It would be
I feel like
interesting
he-
if ghosts like exist, but like the only form of magic they can use is illusions.
That would be cool.
Well, was there something that alluded to him being a ghost? Because I didn't get that.
Well,
at
just
all.
that he
No.
lives in a graveyard.
He lives in a graveyard, and then, what is his name? I'm sorry.
I don't know.
Tholomule?
Oh, Mytholomule.
Mytholomule was just like, yeah, that guy's definitely a ghost. Like, he said that, like, right after, and I was like, I thought that was, like, confirmation, essentially, because it was like, I mean, maybe he's wrong, but I thought that was just the implication.
Nah, I mean, I don't think it's
Um,
like I don't think that's like confirmed he's a ghost. I think it was a funny character moment for Mytholomule, but also he might be a ghost.
I thought they were going for the fact that, like, the audience would be like, oh, this guy's definitely a ghost, and then Mytholomule says that, and then everyone's like, ha ha, that's what I thought, but I guess there's no confirmation. But,
I don't know. I don't know. He might be alive. He might just be a crazy old guy.
Yeah, it doesn't
or he
really
might be
matter
a
that
ghost.
much.
But yeah, I found it interesting that they managed to make Gus a non-agonizing character for once, and they actually gave him an interesting
Hey,
plot.
whoa! He's never had enough screen time to be agonizing. That's what the problem was to me. I
Maybe the
feel like he's-
agonizing part is that he doesn't have enough screen time, where we're like, I want to like you so badly,
Yeah,
can you please do
Well,
something?
yeah, it's like they have Gus and Widow in episodes, and they're a pair, and neither of them ever do anything, especially when they're together. They have even less opportunity to do anything because they have to share their screen time. But now we had Gus by himself for almost the entire episode. There was barely any lose in this episode, and there was no Ida, and only one
Oh yeah,
scene with
Ida
King.
wasn't in
so,
it.
yeah, Ida wasn't in the episode. The Owl House wasn't in the episode. So
Is that
this
a
was
first?
very much.
Because like
Yeah, I think
normally,
it is.
you know, when a cartoon has an A plot and a B plot, they like they like intersect a little bit, which didn't happen at all here. Like they started, you know, they started together and then they just completely split off and never met up again, and it's just two completely different plots. It was
Yeah.
it was strange. This was a
I-
weird episode.
I thought the what is it? What is the other school called? I'm sorry.
Glandis.
Just forgetful.
Glandis.
I thought the kids from Glandis had really cute designs too. I also loved that Gus's illusion of the dude's dad was just him with a mustache. The exact
It
same
worked.
outfit. And the
And
guy's
it
like,
worked.
I want ice cream, Dad.
Yes, and the guy, and he also asked, "When did you grow a mustache?" Which means that his dad apparently just looks exactly like him.
Yeah.
How much you want to bet that guy is a clone?
Oh wow,
Oh my
wow,
God.
deep lore.
This is the epic lore now.
In terms of, you know, Luce's plot, it was funny. I was like, is this Lost in Language again? We're in the library. We got the
Yeah.
We got the no. But it was no. It was. I was happy to see how, I don't know. It was weird because like her and Amity were obviously blushing a lot this episode, but I didn't feel as bad as I felt when Amity did it in the sports episode. I was like, oh, like no, they're just. I don't know. Did you guys find it jarring, or did you think it was the correct amount?
I thought
of
it
blushing?
I thought it was okay because compared to that sports episode, because it was the both of them, and I sort of had this thought like throughout the episode, right when they like were hiding from the guy and they were like close to each other and rolled away. I started to think like, are they like hamming this up a little too much? But it made me realize that it's like not only is it like two girls in love, which just never happens on a cartoon ever to begin with, but it's like there's not really ever romance in cartoons ever. Like we all have anime and like fandom stuff in our minds, but cartoons never actually go that deep on relationships like
Yeah, they
romance.
tend to have unrequited. I found like I've always found the blushing a bit patronising. Like you'll understand if I mention anime. Anime is full of girls blushing at each other, and cartoons have been as well. Apart from Steven Universe, quite professionally, like there's nothing like that in SU. The characters are quite straightforward, or it's quite dignified, like Bismuth and Bill in Future. But so I did find it a little bit uncomfortable and patronising. Like these characters wouldn't probably wouldn't act like that. They're probably doing it because that's how gay subtext is coded into shows these days. But I loved Edwin and Edric and Edwin. I can't remember her name.
Edric and Emra.
Edric and Emma, yes, I loved their involvement in this episode. That was everything I'd been hoping
Yeah,
for.
every line they said was just so good. Like they write them so well. I just cannot believe it.
For sure.
And we saw different sides to Luz and Amity as well. Like they were taking, this is a very serious episode for the both of them. Amity being a rather gentle character, and Luz being quite grown up. I really felt like they've matured a lot since the start of the series.
I'm really glad they didn't leave it on like Amity walks away like I need some time, Luz.
Yeah.
And they're just hanging
Okay.
with each
Yeah.
other.
No. That's the thing. Like I think if the blushing in this episode had been left to just that, and it was just like that sports episode again, kind of, then it would have been bad and like too much. But because it was actually building up to the kiss at the end of the episode, it's good.
They'll probably be fucking dating the next time we see them. I honestly wondered if they were dating at the start of this episode.
I think.
I just want to say that I think it's cute that they blush differently. Like Amity has her whole face go red, and Luz just like under her eyes.
Another thing, oh my god, is this the first time I've seen Amity without her like hairband in? I was like,
I think
look at her
so,
hair.
yeah.
It was so cute. But
You were freaking out actually. You had like a bad reaction to that, and I was like,
I was so excited. She was adorable. I love her. I was happy to see Luce, like, I don't know, maybe Luce has had time to like think over her feelings and develop them, because before it was like pretty one-sided and Luce was like totally, but now like that she was also like that, I was happy to see it. The joke where they were caught by that terrifying thing and he was just like, I'm just so disappointed in you. That was like the best joke in television history. I was like, are you kidding me? That was so funny.
See, part of me wanted to see another super cool, scary library chase, but then another part of me thought that was very funny.
That's why the joke hit so hard, because like, I think the show consistently has like a cool monster like at the end, and like, I was like, oh, this guy's really cool, and this library section's really cool. He might do this, like, really amazing, like, crazy dark magic, or, like, this might be really I don't know. But then it was just like, nah.
You know the scene at the start, like, I still have thoughts on this. The scene at the start where Gus calls out Luz on asking for his library card so that he can go see Amity, and Luz is like, yeah, I haven't been doing a good job at hiding that. The only cartoon where I've seen a relationship get development in that way and that quickly is Adventure Time, where, namely Burning Low, when Finn was going off to see Flame Princess, and arguably PB and Marcy in season 7, when Marcy just showed up at PB's bedroom in the middle of the night. That's the only time I've seen characters build relationships in that way in cartoons. You don't really get that in kids animation, so you made a good point earlier.
And I think too, like, even just in my head, like, I think the way Adventure Time does it is totally different from how this is doing it. Like, I feel like Owl House is doing it in a way that's very clearly like anime inspired, whereas Adventure Time was like Adventure Time's own sort of way of doing it. Like, they didn't really pull it from anything, but I could definitely tell that like we have a lot of anime fangirls on the board team for this show, which isn't a bad thing. It's just how people have developed now, because there's all younger artists working on this stuff now.
Yeah, it's just people taking inspiration from the things they love. I wouldn't say it was too anime. I'd say it's quite anime, but not too anime.
I have two questions. Actually, one question and one comment. When I was initially watching it and Amity had the reaction when she got fired, I was like, part of me was like, ooh, I don't like, I feel like this reaction feels forced, but then I was like, maybe it doesn't, because she lost her library job and she started getting sad, and then she started thinking about like how she's never had feelings like that before and how Luz is making her do all these things, and she starts getting scared about her like own identity, I think. So I think her reaction was probably felt natural, but did you guys feel like her like reaction to getting fired was natural, or was it too shoehorned?
It was good. It was a good reaction, I think. And you've got to bear in mind, Luz and Amity, do they even know that they're like gay yet? I mean,
I think that's
what I'm thinking. Yeah.
I think that's like, one of the things Amity even said. She was like, I'm feeling things I never had before, and I think it scares her, like, honestly.
Yeah, she's never had feelings for someone before. She doesn't understand why she's so gushy about Luz.
And her siblings...
I guess she has coming to understand it.
her siblings literally said the line, "You weren't happy before this," and I loved that line. Just like, I don't know.
It was death. It was death to them.
Which brings me to the other thing, where like the fact that she changed her hair, like me liking the green aside better. No, I'm just kidding. I like both, but you know, her changing her hair was very powerful message to me. It's just like mom's always liked it green, but she's sort of ready to be her own person, and that made me really happy.
I love that, you know, that it has that meaning, and I also love in general when just, like, things change in cartoon status quo. Presumably she'll have this hairstyle from now on, or for a while. Can I ask opinions on it? Like, what? Because personally, I don't like it. I liked her old hair. Like, the color is cool, but I liked her old hairstyle, like, way more than this one. What do you guys think?
Well, that's the thing. What I said was, I was like, oh, I might have liked the green better, but I think I like the message so much, and like, I kind of related it to my own life, where like when my best friends like dye their hair, and I'm like, oh, I like their old hair better, but then I say how happy they are and what it means to them, and I'm like, I like the new hair better. I felt the same way about Amity's hair.
Yeah, I just had to get used to it.
I saw somebody sent me a picture of Amity kissing Luz on the cheek like a few hours before this
podcast. Are your friends
and
terrible?
I was so. My friends are terrible. Can, if you're watching this, I'm talking about you. And Can sent me that, and I was like, oh my god, why would you send me this? I haven't seen it yet. But I also said, why has she dyed her hair purple? She's gone from green to purple. She's gone from like obsessed with her mum to like dyeing it purple because she likes Luz. But at the same time, it's cute. It's really cute, and
it is cute.
I love the hairstyle as well. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's as good as before. It's just a bit different, and we're gonna warm up to that character design if it lasts a while. And I'm like, that's Amity exploring herself and her own identity at her own pace and deciding what she wants to represent. And at the moment, she wants to dye her hair purple. So yeah.
I'm gonna mention this because it still eternally makes me upset. When you said like, I love things changing in shows. In the end of Little Brother and Adventure Time, when they said the treehouse is in bloom and it turns pink, I was like, oh my god, they're gonna change the treehouse color because they defeated the evil roots. I'm so happy, and then it never showed up again. I was so mad.
I was depressed. It would have been so cool if it did show up
awesome.
Again.
Because I was like, oh, this is the natural state of the treehouse. It was just suppressed by the Rat King or whatever. And anyway, that was a tangent. I just had to mention it.
I completely agree. I also had that exact thought when the episodes came out after that, and they weren't different.
But yeah, I also really liked the dialogue between the two when, like, Amity was like, I don't know, because maybe in Owl House or maybe in shows in general, like, Amity was like, kind of like, you know, you make me do stupid things and I think I need space. And usually the characters, like, stutter and they're like, Amity, wait, and then that's it. But Luz got to respond and was just like, you make me do stupid things too, sort of thing. It was like kind of a mutual, like, man, this relationship's sort of complicated, isn't it? Which was nice. Because I'm used to those conversations being really one-sided in media. And I'm just like, yeah, she responded. Woohoo.
I gotta say that this episode, while we were watching, I was thinking, if this episode was just the Luz and Amity plot, then it would be a 10 out of 10 for me. But it's not, though. It's the pacing is so weird. It should have been longer. It should have been either a 2-part episode, or they should have just split the 2 plots into like 2 different episodes. Yeah. Like, you know, that had that weird cold open, as we already discussed, and that wouldn't have been a problem if they had more time for everything. Like,
I don't mind it. I liked it. I really liked the cold open. I really liked the 2 plots that didn't necessarily have to be connected, because this is not just focused on, oh, it's the main plot, everything has to come together in the end. It's exploring different kinds of storytelling, and I think the Owl House should do that more. So I'd want to encourage this sort of thing to happen again.
Wow. It's getting heated in here.
Tipsy wants bad cold opens from now on, everybody. And more Bartholomew or whatever his name is.
Now, I agree that experimenting is good. I just don't like this execution in particular. I mean, another thing is that those, like, Landis kids hardly got any development at all. They each had, like, one thing going on.
Yeah.
You know, I kind of didn't care about them.
Those Glandis kids reminded me of Rick and Morty, because Rick and Morty very often makes, like, ensemble characters for one episode that are just guest stars and, like, are meant to be kind of a joke. So, like, I was just kind of used to that type of character. Like, right when they showed up, I was like, oh, okay, these are just going to be, like, they're here for the plot. Ensemble to sell t-shirts and stuff.
I have to mention this because I forgot to mention it earlier. It's not that important, but I know it was just an illusion. But the guardian of the like ruins, like also awesome. I love their monster design because like
Yes.
it's like consistently surprising to me, their monster design, because it's like I don't know. I think you're like, okay, scary ruins monster. What is it gonna look like? And a lot of people follow like this like formula, but like they just have this really unique design to all the
Yeah,
monsters.
they're
Very
always
good.
different. Like there's no monsters that you could really like compare
Yeah.
to each other.
Super awesome. But yeah, sorry, I just had to say that because I felt bad that I didn't. It's time for the episode haiku.
haven't
No,
done the
wait,
ratings yet.
save that for the end. Yeah, save that
Yeah.
for the, like, that'll be our closing statement.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah. Also, one thing before we get into ratings, really cool at the, the very end, like the last thing. Oh, no, wait, was the kiss the last thing, I think? Yeah, it was, because then Amity walked in the door and closed the door. But anyway, when Amity and Luz were, like, watching the rat reading the book...
Oh, I forgot about that.
How did we forget about the most important plot point?
The, like, old-timey narration was so interesting. Like, I hope we get to see more book segments in the future.
For me personally, with how I was feeling, I got huge like Simon Petrikov reveal vibes, which doesn't mean like it was the same impact, because obviously like finding out Ice King, all that stuff, but like just like this like grounded moment of like this like historical person just like in from the past, just like saying this really cool stuff. I was like, oh my god.
Okay, but like, I'm sure we can all agree we're supposed to figure out that that's the Emperor, right?
I
I mean, I don't know.
I mean, I was thinking at first, but then he's talking about finding a way, and it shows the doors. But so it's like,
Yeah.
did he know about the door? Like, did he have the door? Did he make
I
the
don't know.
door?
It might have been in the book. He might have had it and
Okay,
lost it.
yeah, I guess...
it could
There-
be like
It could be a thing of he was a human, like, trapped in the Boiling Isles a long time ago, and so he dedicated his life to trying to find a way back, and that eventually led him down the path of somehow becoming the Emperor, but he's still on the same goal, and that's why he wants the door so bad.
I'm
He wants it so bad.
I feel like
Yeah.
that's the most obvious plot. I guess maybe like that doesn't mean it would be a bad plot. I wonder if he got the door.
I mean, the biggest mystery there is how is he so old? Like, how has he lived for hundreds of years?
The Titan's heart,
Well-
maybe, because he is like.
Yeah, the Titan's blood, and that's what Ida's mum referenced last episode. So it's the same voice actor. I'm certain it's the same voice actor as the Emperor.
Oh, really? Okay.
I don't
Yeah.
remember what the Emperor's voice sounds like.
I mean, it could.
Hello, human.
I wonder if he got the door thing like created, but he couldn't use it, and maybe he's like, I'm gonna put it in front of Ida the Owl late, and now he probably didn't even know her back then. I feel like I'm reaching. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out why it would just be in the dirt, like so obviously placed in front of her, and it's like maybe he needed someone else. Nah. I'm
Maybe
just
someone hid it from him. Maybe they did a really.
In the
Maybe someone ran
dirt.
from him and did a really bad job.
Maybe they tried. I mean, maybe it's true. Was it raining when she was running? Like maybe they tried to bury it, and then it just like kind of.
I don't think it was.
Yeah.
No, not really. Yeah, I guess that also Emperor plot would explain, like, that would mean that he never actually found any answers, and so the book isn't useful, and that's why he doesn't care that it's still just in the library.
Yeah.
True.
I can't believe I forgot that part.
But if the Emperor is a human, then where does that leave the Golden Guard? Because our running theory was that the Golden Guard is his son or a clone, and the Golden Guard is clearly not a human.
Maybe his
he's a
wife. Maybe his
adopted.
wife is an elf.
witch.
A witch,
Checkmate.
yeah. Or a demon, whatever the
Yeah.
difference is there. I don't know.
I mean, the Golden Guard, maybe it just isn't his son. I was just figured that would be it's just oh, who's that guy? The most trusted Emperor guy. It's the.
I
son.
mean, he's a teen. That's why it's weird. That's why it's oh, he's probably nepotism or something. To talk about ratings, like I said, the Luz and Amity stuff would be 10 out of 10 for me, but the Gus stuff was more like a 6. I just didn't care about it. So to split the difference, I guess it would be an 8 on this one.
Whoa! I was between 8 and 8.5. I'm gonna say 8. I enjoyed it a lot though, but like we usually say, I think about my favorite episodes and I compare to them, and I'm I'll give it.
It's so hard for me to think of one because I did like really, aside from the cold open being weirdly jarring, I did like all of it. I liked the two completely separated plots. I think they were both good. They weren't necessarily exciting or super engaging like other episodes have been, aside from the last what, 3 minutes with Luz.
Go with your gut.
Very good. So, well, during the episode, I was going to say 6, but then the ending happened, and I was like, okay. So
Wow.
I don't know. I guess 7 makes sense.
Boo. Just kidding.
And 8 is pretty agreeable for me. I was quite engaged with this episode. I really liked the Grandis Betty, we've been calling her, the Felicia Day character from Grandis. And I hope she comes back at some point, because I'd love to see her as a sort of
She
on
won't.
and off.
I like
I'm sure
Yeah,
she
but-
will.
yeah.
I like to hear a
Celebrity
little
guest
more about
stars.
Glandis and how it's like more of like the only the strong survive sort of environment.
You know that entire arc with like Peridot and Steven Universe, and she's like, oh yes, and on the Gem homeworld, you gotta be strong and mean, and Peridot was obviously quite weak. Is it maybe like that, except not as terrible, not as terribly handled, hopefully, but
You gotta find some way to say something bad about Steven Universe in every episode.
Every single episode.
I'm sorry, you can cut that if you like. I was actually talking to someone about how Steven Universe is the second best cartoon I've seen. Maybe not the second
Right.
best, but definitely up there. So I quite enjoy it.
That's the
Especially-
first thing I've ever heard of you that's been like positive, so that's funny to hear. Or like from Steven Universe rather. I thought you hated it.
Yeah, so like again, my feeling on this episode is that it just like I wish it had more time to do everything that it was doing. But you know, as weird an episode as it is, that is also an enjoyable experience when you get to think, wait, what is happening and why? Why is this like this? So yeah, you know, it's a good one to settle on.
So can I do
Alright.
my haiku?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. I love Amity. Woo, okay. I love Amity. Her new hair is so precious. The Gus part was fine. Yes! That was great! I did
Yeah.
Awesome. Alright.
All right,
Stop
that was
recording.
an episode.
Also, can I say one thing? Glandy's nuts. Please leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon to know when I post new videos. Thanks for watching, and super special thanks to my Patreon supporters. Support me on Patreon and you'll be able to submit video topics, see exclusive behind the scenes content, and help me keep this channel going. Also follow me on Twitter and TikTok for special updates.